prefer to take an ineffective human being to work for them as compared to a robot that is very effective, cost effective, that is actually does not get tired. What they tell us that actually they can crash in a way. So we find that very problematic rest. But then what do we come to as side opposition? One, we think that we are not against the existence of robots, but rather we come to protect status quo. Why? We think that at a point in time where these robots or these AIs actually have that strong mental capacity or that ability to work even more than human beings, we think that granting them rights then degrades the meaning as to why humans exist, because we put them at an equal scale that is actually going to actually erode, or it's actually going to kill competition between them and humans, because why? They're actually very effective. As we tell you, they do not get tired, and being a capitalistic kind of century, then the humans are actually going to be dragged into a pit of suffering. So we find that problematic aside government. But secondly, we come and look at the utility principle. Who at the end of the day, not granted, the utility principle, who at the end of the day does achieve utility? Because one, as a government, you should look at the well-being of your people, even though robots can be used in spaces for protection whatsoever, but you should not grant them rights as like human rights. Why? Because firstly, you have a social contract theory to provide to your citizens. So at the point where you grant these robots, these strong machines, rest, these strong machines equal rights to those of people, that means you create a space of competition that actually is then going to erode the capacities that these human beings hold. So we find that very problematic because one, they concede to the fact that they are very intelligent, even surpass human understanding, but secondly, they are very effective, they do not get tired. So we find that a bit problematic. So that is why, aside opposition, we think it is important not to underscore the importance of actually upholding human rights. Pure, okay?
Do you mean that people's existence as capitalists takes away human rights?
People's existence as capitalists takes away human rights. What a capitalistic person looks like is a person who looks at profit maximization. This is a person who maybe has that money and the capacity to hire this particular artificial intelligence machine. So in an instance where this machine actually provides much labor and actually the cost of input into the machine is less as compared to humanity, then that becomes an advantage to this person to exploit the existence of humans. Because one, they actually won't allow to employ these humans because this machine is actually very effective, and then that becomes an importance, or that becomes very important. But the question that still stands in the debate is the question of why or how robots actually, how granting AIs or strong AIs are human rights actually gets, like how robots or strong AIs qualify to be granted strong human rights. I beg to rest.
Thank you for that speech, second opposition speaker. Let's have the third top speaker to extend the debate here.
Thank you, dear judges. My name is Tracy, and first of all, I thank my teammates for this heavy run, both from the online trials and now. So I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Okay, panel, we need to understand how AI has evolved from being a point whereby it can only do one thing to having like human abilities. Each and every day it's evolving. So at the end of the day, even the ability to have emotions is still going to come in the long run. We believe that's also one of the justifications as to why it would have it. Even secondly, at a point in time whereby these AI have literally like human-like abilities. If for example, people like don't necessarily have children, they would like turn to AI to like, be their kids or something, because like we told you earlier, these are like the exact replica of human beings. POI was asked, can dogs be given human rights? No, dogs have animal rights. But in the event that this AI has like a sort of ability can do something a human being can do exactly. I.e., if a robot passes here and you do not know it's a robot, we then feel that they do deserve human rights. What has been the major clash for this debate? Is it justified for strong AI to have human rights, right? First idea in this was, are they deserving? What did they come and tell us? No, they are not deserving. They give some sort of analysis that wasn't properly mechanized, but I will still engage. But I know that the only difference between you and that replica of an AI is that is the sort of emotion aspect whereby at the end of the day it will still come in. I.e., if I slap you right now, you're most likely going to cry. If I slap the AI, it wouldn't necessarily cry. That's like the only difference. Everything else literally still stands there. But secondly, if we look at the aspect of someone creating them, can you know that in like a normal situation, you're given back to? The difference between this AI is that it's made. It's literally given back to, but it's literally given back to. The only difference is it's metal, right? You have flesh, they have metal, right? At a point in time whereby it's literally created by people. Number one, they know that this AI vision is going into society. This entirely means that at a point in time whereby this AI is literally going into society, it deserves the right to be protected. That is one reason why when they say that they are not deserving, it's for that of this event. But even secondly, assuming we take them by their best, we don't give them this sort of protection. These people, not that as they have completely acknowledged that this strong AI is like of great importance. How would the person who literally made this AI feel when let's say their AI they created is being mistreated, i.e., is being mistreated? They will then not have an incentive to continue creating because what they create it does not necessarily have protection and it's being mistreated by people. Secondly, why do we read on that sort of comparative, right? We give these AIs the ability to have rights. Why? Because we first show you it's deserving, right? We ask an idea, what is life? Is life having flesh or is life the ability to exist? That is the question. But we believe that by that time, like I told you earlier, at a point where strong AI, you cannot identify this person, this moving AI from like an actual person, like that is incentive enough to actually get them. Second point of like the whole sort of dominance, right? We believe they say that if we give these robots the right to life, they will now feel like they are better than everyone, right? But let me ask you guys a question. Because you have the right to life, do you feel like you can now step on all our heads or dominate necessarily? There's no sort of analysis. When we give you rights, it necessarily means that you have some sort of ability to now like step on everyone's head and believe you're dominant. But then even if you don't buy into this analysis, assuming a scenario whereby this AI believes it's supposed to have human rights, what would then happen when you're not granting it? This AI is already programmed to actually think like a person and they are being mistreated. At the end of the day, they will now fight for dominance. Why? Because you're not giving it to them. They know the government says it's not protecting them. They kind of feel like people. So at the end of the day, they will literally fight for this dominance. That will be problematic on their side of the house. On our side of the house, we basically eradicate this by we make them feel comfortable in society and not give us a reason of, that sort of ideologies like I'm better than you, why don't I have rights? Right? We erase that sort of idea. Third clash panel, there was a right on the workspace kind of thing, right? How these AIs are going to lead to unemployment. This is where we draw the line between human rights and legal rights. Human rights basically deal with like a person's social well-being, right? Security, family, etc. Employment, land, all that stuff that the government is completely responsible for. Constitution related, their sort of employment, how now they're going to believe they're supposed to be employed and how people will choose over them. Even in the event that they didn't have rights, if a strong AI came in, they'll still pick you over them. They don't necessarily show us how giving this strong AI they didn't necessarily show us how when you give this AI now rights, they'll literally still be picked. They'll literally still be picked over you. If that's the case they're running, they should just tell us how, because these people should stop creating AI because it's going to displace people, right? We already show you how there's a difference between legal rights and human rights. They cannot come here and give us any idea of employment, what, etc., because that is entirely a debate for another day. what do we tell you? The first thing we tell you is human beings have an obligation to protect this AI, right? Which they don't necessarily touch on. We come and tell you that on our side of the house, we literally create, just because this AI is not backed doesn't necessarily mean it's not necessarily a person, right? You have an obligation to protect it because you created it, right? We come and tell you how the government is able to do it, because we feel like the government is the best actor to do so. I.e., this would probably be this. I.e., we come and tell you how like the government is like the best person to do so because the government has like the ability to implement laws, and we all know that once you break the law, you go to jail. So people are most likely going to like give respect to this AI because at the end of the day, they know there's a consequence. Violate an AI, go to jail. That's some sort of analysis they don't touch, right? But secondly, we told you the idea of exploitation, which they don't necessarily touch. Because these AIs like don't necessarily have right, people can just come and exploit them, overwork them even in the event that they don't necessarily deserve to be exploited. What does our side of the house do? We give them like that serenity, right? Like the creators of this AI, there's some sort of serenity they have, or like some sort of assurity they have that no one, even in the event like I create my robot dogs, even in the event that I create my AI, etc., they will still be protected, right? But no, they don't necessarily disregard the fact that we come and tell you how like they are literally coexisting with people, right? But no, we believe that the fact that as I conclude my speech, we believe the fact that this AI is literally coexisting with a person, right? We believe that by the time this AI is coexisting with a person, i.e., there's literally not much difference. If people can respect an AI, they will most likely actually respect like their normal, like their actual fellows. Proud to.
All right, thank you for that speech, Stan Pro. Let's have that up to extend their case here.
I start my speech in 3, 2, 1, 0. Chair, at a point in time that the first speaker came here and told us that dogs have been tamed and have been left to live with humans, and they have not dominated humans. One thing to note: one, dogs are not as intelligent as humans as compared to the strong AI. Number two, dogs are not given human rights, they are given animal rights. That is why dogs have not managed to dominate human beings. So what do we say in this debate? Allow me to be backed up from their side. First and foremost, they speak of robots and people willingly living together. But why is this? What do we say from our side? When robots and people come and are willingly living together, that's just one thing for sure that we were saying was that robots are more effective, more intelligent, and more efficient. And if people start feeling that they are out of place, they are likely to backlash. And why is this detrimental? This is detrimental, showing that if they are likely to backlash, they are likely to start rioting, they are likely to even start destroying this AI themselves. So that is why we win on the clash of the robots work with people, because in the long run, people will start being hostile to the robots because they believe that these robots are taking the jobs for the people. That is how people are programmed to feel. So that is it. They speak of replication of humans. First and foremost, they don't tell us how replication of humans is really important in this debate, but nevertheless, we still take it. If they replicate humans are likely to backlash, are likely to experience a big backlash, because there is no human. I even as a human wouldn't like it if it was clearly replicated. So replication would clearly bring a big backlash from the people, which in itself shows that the country that is rioting, the country that is fighting against each other cannot develop. And if we are fighting to eradicate these AIs, there will not be anything. So we believe that what we say on the clash of replication, we take the clash of replication. So there was a clear contradiction from our second speaker. The second speaker came here and said that we should give them rights and not take them to dangerous areas. But at the same time, she comes here and tell us that they are more effective when it comes to war. Then if they are more effective when it comes to war, then what is the right of not taking them to the dangerous areas? That even comes again and contradicts to the third speaker who says that they would be more effective if they went to fight in war. That clearly means that it would be contradicting their first speaker who said that they should be given the right not to be taken to dangerous places, which in itself, we want in the reply speech to come and clearly tell us who of the two was asserting and who of the two was telling the truth. So clearly, and that is what they were clearly telling us. So we got a replication, we got autonomy where people work together and clearly show you that from our side, backlash, there would be a major backlash from the people. So that is why we win, because there will be people will normally be will fight these AIs to put them out of place, because no one at this point in time would like to be replicated. So that is what we get from them. That is what we get from them. And most importantly, they tell, I'll take you later. And most importantly, they tell us that humans, that these robots will clearly work together with humans. That shows that cannot really happen, because people, what we say is that they are, given the fact that robots are more effective, more intelligent, and more efficient, that clearly shows that they are likely to take most of the jobs. And one, we're likely to see less employment in people. Number two, we are likely to see people fighting. People will start a backlash because they want their rights to be catered for at this point in time. She says that she said one of the contradictions that that speaker articulated, what the third speaker said, he said that if an AI entered here, clearly we will take the AI over humans. That is what she would take an AI over humans. That is clearly what we're saying. If AIs are given rights to have a job, rights to come and have a job, that means that if an AI clearly enters into a room, he is likely to get, if an AI enters the room, he is likely to get a job as compared to a human. So what is our case addressing this debate? What are human rights? First of all, what did we say human rights are made? Human rights are made to protect humans from harm and danger. But most importantly, why is it important not to give artificial intelligence human rights? When artificial intelligence gets human rights, it's likely to take most of the jobs that that artificial intelligence that humans have. And if they take most of the jobs that humans have, that means that humans are likely to backlash because they will want those jobs. And given the fact that they are more effective, more intelligent, and more efficient, that means that it is clearly justifiable if they take these jobs. And that will be pushing many humans into less employment and poverty, and that will be pushing most of us into poverty. But what do we say? What we say from our side is that there will be a major backlash in the country that can even lead to a riot. I'll take you later. That even leads to a riot. What kind of riot are we leading to? What kind of riot are we doing to? When people get uncomfortable and they believe that they're being denied their rights, they're likely to backlash, and this can lead into this can be very dangerous because these robots are likely to be destroyed. I'll take you POI.
Does your case analysis suggest that these AIs before like having the rights, they do not have the jobs they occupy?
At this point in the debate, I really don't understand what team affirmative is bringing for us right now, because I would like to even expand more into our case. So what happens when these robots are really clearly given their rights? If a robot is given their rights, they are likely one thing, they're likely to get more jobs than humans get jobs. Number two, they're likely to occupy more offices, and number three, they're likely to occupy more political offices. Which in the list, what we as team affirmative say, what we as team negative say, will clearly lead to domination. And when domination comes into play, that means that most of the robots will occupy most of the offices, leading to high rates of domination. And if we dominate, as we had said, the overall impact is that people will start being, that there will be a major rate of backlash from the people. But most importantly, what happens? Let's go a bit of a what if analysis into their world. So what happens in their world when we prioritize the human rights? We're looking at most jobs, if not all of the jobs belonging to robots. And as we had said, if you had a child that is a robot and enters a class, if you have a child that is a robot and he enters the class, he's likely to top the class all the time, which clearly, as my second speaker had said, will be highly detrimental to most people's health because they believe they are not as intelligent as those robots, which is not something good on our side. On our side, we believe that is what would happen at their side, since most of the jobs would clearly be occupied by the robot. But when we go at our comparative analysis, what does our side have? We might consider the fact that we have less efficiency, we might have less efficiency, and less effectiveness. But what our side has, the benefits our side has, is that we have more employment of people, we have more people working, we have more people working together, and we do not have robot domination, we do not have backlash as compared to their side. As their side that comes, they have very many, how much they have more effectiveness. We still believe that their harms that belong to their side are more detrimental than the goods that belong to their side. So we believe that on the basis of domination and backlash, and the stealing of human rights, which it can be clearly detrimental, at the basis that when robots start taking most of the jobs, there'll be a clear backlash, and when a robot sits in class and talks to most of the humans, it will be clear detrimental to someone's mental capacity, even though they believe they are not as intelligent as those robots. At this point in time, I'll never be proud of what.
Okay. Thank you for that speech, Tad. Let's have the opposition reply to extort. Close up their case.
So I just want to begin with the last question that has featured in the third of speech. That before we grant rights to the AI, don't they already, or what is going to happen to the already existing jobs they have? So we think right now government doesn't have the limitation of regulating who gets many jobs or who gets many opportunities. But we think when they actually have equal rights, then at that point it is really hard to regulate and make sure that actually people still are considered, and that is highly detrimental in the ops case. So, what we get from the entire debate are only like three analogies: the police dog and officer analogy, then the soldier analogy that, soldiers have rights, but they still go into war. We think at that point it is completely diversion from the debate, because that is personal choice, and that is the topic of a different day. Then, about police dogs, people are trying to, draw a comparison between animal rights and human rights. We think just because police dogs can have animal rights, and that doesn't actually seem to suggest that automatically robots will have to qualify to have human rights. Then, they also tell us things like rights will not guarantee dominance, that right does not guarantee dominance. So we think for the case of robots, or specifically AI, it will definitely guarantee dominance, because in this case, this is someone who is smarter, right? Then, we did not want to end into a human versus AI debate until, they, use the word replicate, and later we saw them try to imply replace. Because, they tell us that robots can be there, or AI can be there in cases where people are not, or AI can be there for people who do not have children, and that is totally replacing humanity, which is highly detrimental. Then, the only qualifying metric that they give us in the debate, this is highly disappointing, is that, they have human-like abilities. And like we've told you, this is not how human rights work. Also, they tell us that, they can crash where overworked, but we think, and, they try to characterize that as exploitation. We think there is no sort of exploitation, because they are programmed to carry certain capacities, and there is no red line. There's only someone who can characterize and be like, it is supposed to work up to this rate, charge up to this rate, and sort of thing. Then you also, they tell us that we're going to give them the rights so we can get the benefits. In as much as we are running utility principles, this is not like a business deal, but you're going to give them rights in order to, get the benefits. And like I told you, inherently, that's not that's not the way human rights work. Inherently, human rights are supposed to flow inherently in order to guarantee safety and protection. So, as I end, as you decide on value, actually consider a classic rhetoric where, this is definitely going to be based on assumption that you like debating and judging perhaps. Why you all are definitely going to lose your jobs and are not going to sit on panel anymore, simply because we know robots are definitely smarter and can out-reason and out-think you all. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you for that speech. Let's have the proper reply to extend their case, close their case, and end their debate. People. All right.
Panel of judges, I think I need to make light in the case given by team opposition and what it entirely wants, like
three POIs that were so much vital in this debate as they came from this side. First of all, the first POI that was asked was, does the right of life stop a soldier from going to war? What do we actually get from this side? They try to make a description that if these rights actually existed, it would stop these AIs from performing duty. Another thing that was asked was, does people's existence as capitalists entirely take away human rights? What response do we still get from this side? They entirely try to paint a picture that since people are capitalists, maybe human rights, if they existed, still this would not go further to fulfill duty. Another POI that was also asked was whether their case was entirely showing that, entirely was suggesting that these AIs currently do not have jobs. We came to a conclusion to see that these people were actually against strong artificial intelligence, but not rather the rights, because they debated a line that was clearly showing you that they are not all to buying in these AIs, as we showed you that in our speeches that these are already existing in society. So we do not entirely understand what they try to push further. They try to paint out a picture of things like unemployment, but we painted a picture that the fact that these are already there, the rights would not mean that even when the rights are not there, these are still having jobs. So that means that the case they won does not stand in this debate. What do we provide to you? We show you the autonomy that is existing. They did not actually tackle that. We see that an autonomous decision that would be coming from either sides, the AIs and the human beings who feel like they should be actually existing together. That coexistence that I described in the contextualization is actually something they didn't understand. Another thing, in the framing of the debate, I told you, we also take a responsibility of making sure that the people making these put there that intelligence and capacity of them understanding people's rights. That implies that they would be in position to protect even people's rights, like they would not go further to violate them. I did not hear this debate entirely tackle that. Another thing that panel makes this debate stand is a way out on whether this should be there and the existence of rights in benefit to society, because they had to make a conclusion in their case that rights entirely define everything that was existing. They misinterpret what we do as the replication, as we told you that these are also humans. They are inhumans, they are highly intelligent, they carry what people want them to carry. So they are positioned to take on that. They try to actually rubbish away the analogy of dogs, trying to say that this would dominate. We tell you that is principally justified that human is master. Not at any single point anything shall dominate. We tell you this is made by these people. So how do they dominate? We tell dogs, but dogs do not tell us that please do this. In an analogy of bringing anything related to guns, does not entirely mean that it does not change the fact that the master is human, not dogs. So I think that does not actually stand in this debate. So in my conclusion, therefore, panel, I think this bench was against AIs, but not rather the rights we were trying to bring forth to the House. So I think in those lines of conclusion, we need to settle for a side that provided what is better, and that is my side. I beg you, please.
Okay, thank you for that debate. Please shake hands, then move out. We deliberate, and yeah. Okay, we shall move on. People are going to lunch.